Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're taking a look at the brand new Gardevoir X that was revealed. This is going to be in Scarlet and Violet base set, and this card is looking to be super duper good. So we're just going to go ahead and do a quick deck profile on it. Now you might notice I don't have my usual playmat. That's because I'm not as usual house, which means that please bear with me here as we go forward with this new mats and new setup for at least this video, maybe another one, probably not, but at least for this one video, we're going to have this new setup here. Let's just jump right into the deck, starting off with 4 copies of Ralts. Now this is, there's like a bunch of different Ralts in format. There's one that confuses your opponent's out of Pokemon. There's another one that makes them forget an attack, and another one, this one that we're playing, that has a teleportation burst for a psychic energy dealing 10 damage and switching. That's because a lot of decks are going to be playing more switch. Heading into teleportation, I found, at least in my decks, having to put more switch in them because we're losing things like Air Balloon. So that memory, the one that makes them forget an attack, is not going to be as good because they're going to just switch out of it. So we're going to be playing this one because it can help protect our routes if we need to in some scenarios. And then going into Kirlias, we're playing a split of Kirlias. There's lots of really, really good Kirlias in the format, which is partly because there are lots of really, really good Gardevoirs and Gallades in the format, which is going to make this Gardevoir even stronger. We're playing one copy of the Mirage Step 1 that lets you search your deck for up to 3 Kirlias and put them right on your bench, like the Water Juve hits on Friar Deer. So we're playing one of that. Just sometimes if our deck is being a little bit too slow to set up, if we just find a Kirlia and a Psychic Energy on turn 2, we can just go ahead and get out a couple more Kirlias and be a little bit more like a little bit slower. We are playing for our candy, but we can just be a little bit slower with our game plan using this Mirage Step. And then we're still playing 3 copies of the other Kirlia. This is going to be the Refinement one that makes you discard a card from your hand in order to draw 2 cards. And this is another reason just why Gardevoir EX is so good, because you have a draw ability built in to your Pokemon. A lot like how Ampharos EX has Flaffy built into its Stage 1 evolution line. Gardevoir has Trade built into its evolution line, which is just going to be a huge buff for not only Gardevoir, but also Ampharos, like I just mentioned. And just consistency in your deck is always great, but the fact that it not only is consistency, but also evolves into your attacker that has a broken ability is super, super nice. It's really, really good as well. So playing 3 copies of the Refinement Kirlia, and now we're going into our Gallades and Gardevoirs. So we're playing 2 copies of the Gallade from Astral Radiance. That has the Buddy Catch. Let's use search your deck for a supporter card, and that's because we are losing things like Crobat. The consistency is going down in this format. We're losing Quick Ball, a lot of things like that, which means that having Buddy Catch, allowing you to search your deck for a supporter card every turn, is really, really nice. And this allows us to utilize things like Cheryl, which is really, really good, and I'll get to that in a moment. It lets us get a Roxanne exactly when we need it. Lets us get a boss exactly when we need it. Let's get a judge. Just if we need a draw, we can find a judge for research. So Buddy Catch is also it's just a really, really good ability, but also has a decently usable attack. Swirling Slice for Psychic Double Colorless, dealing 160 damage, and you move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. Are there any regular Stage 2 Pokemon, non-Stage 2 EXs, just regular Stage 2s that are trying to attack your deck? Then the Swirling Slice, at least right now, will KO most Stage 2s. So if that's ever a thing, you can try and trade with some Stage 2 decks with the Swirling Slice, because it is a really decent attack, and not only allowing you to one-shot most Stage 2s, but also then you conserve energy. And conserving energy is not really a problem in this deck when we get to the Gardevoir EX. I'll talk about that more. But before that, we have 1 copy of Gardevoir, the Shining Arcana one from Shilling Rain. And this one has the Shining Arcana. Once your turn, you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck. If any of them are basic energy, you can attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, and then put the other remaining cards in your hand. So at the very least, this card just says draw 2 cards. At this very best, it says attach 2 energy from your deck to your Pokemon. Both are extremely strong. Yeah, this ability is just really, really good, like I just mentioned. But it also has the attack Brainwave for triple colorless, dealing 60 damage and 30 more for each Psychic Energy attached to it, which means if you have like 9 Psychic Energy attached to it, you're going to be dealing a very clean 330. Now, it's not actually impossible to get 9 energy on this because of our Gardevoir EX. But it is not going to be. It's not hard to, but it's also not easy because we are going to be damaging ourselves with the Gardevoir EX, which I will get to when you get, if you don't know what the Gardevoir EX does already. It'll write this whole deck for you. Yeah, the Spring Wave at its very worst is going to be dealing like 270 damage. So yeah, very, very good attack. And then we have the Gardevoir EX, the card that I have been talking about this whole video, and is so good. It has the broken ability. I'm gonna say a broken ability, Psychic Embrace, that allows you to, as often as you like, not once during your turn, as often as you like, you can attach a Psychic Energy card from your discard pile to one of your Psychic Pokemon to play, and then put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. Which means if you accelerate 2 Psychic Energies, you put 40 damage onto that Pokemon. If you accelerate 5, you put 100 damage. This can accelerate, like I mentioned, as little as 3 energy to pair the Gardevoir EX's attack, or as little or as much as like all your energy in your deck, 11. Not 11, 10. I can't believe that. I just anyway. So it can accelerate a little bit of energy, but it can also accelerate a lot of energy. And the fact that it's as often as you like makes it so insanely good. It's basically just saying you just get infinite energy out of your discard pile to attach to your Pokemon at the price of a little bit of damage, which is going to be workable. So yeah, this card is just so good. And then we also have the attacker for 2 Psychic Guncarlos dealing 190 damage, and you remove all special conditions from this Pokemon, which a lot of people are saying is bad. I honestly think this attack is pretty good. 190 will take care of the smaller V Pokemon, Crobat, Luminion, and also take care of the smaller EX Pokemon, like the Mimikyu EX that we've seen. And we actually are playing in this deck, the Mimikyu EX, that can take care of that. And at the very worst, it is going to be just 2-shotting everything, like opposing Stage 2 EXs. So this attack is actually very, very decent in my opinion, and it's a pretty usable attack that you'll be using a decent amount throughout the game. Of course, accompanied by the Brainwave and the Swirling Slice on the Gallade and Gardevoir. So yeah, now you can see why this Gallade is better, because you can just immediately start your energy onto it. You can accelerate a bunch of energy onto your Gardevoir now. There is a line of text that I did forget to write on my proxy, but that is you cannot knock out a Pokemon with this damage, which means that you can only accelerate 6 energies maximum to the Gardevoir here, the regular Gardevoir, before it would actually be knocked out. So that's something you have to keep in mind. You can actually only accelerate a limited amount of energy to your little smaller Pokemon, like the Gardevoir, which only has 140, which is pretty low. So yeah, and we also have 310 HP, which is not bad, but it's also not that great considering other Stage 2s have 330. Now going to the rest of our deck, we're playing 2 copies of the Mew. This is going to be the Celebrations one. Let me just get this in the camera here, like I mentioned, bear with me here. 2 copies of Mew from Celebrations. It has a Mysterious Tail. This is because we're already playing 4 Fog Cyrstal. Being able to search this out is going to be really, really nice for us. So yeah, Mysterious Tail Mew as well. Now, because it is actually Psychic Pokemon, I was originally playing Beach Court in this deck, giving the Mew free retreat. You actually don't need to, which is pretty funny, because you can just accelerate a Psychic Energy from your discard pile to the Mew retreat and just re-accelerate it again, because Gardevoir lets you do it as often as you like. So you don't even need to play any retreat aids in this deck. You can just retreat them manually and then reattach energy, which is so nuts. Like Gardevoir EX has so much utility. Yeah, Mysterious Tail. And then we have some alternate attackers. Starting off with, like I mentioned before, Mimikyu EX. This card might seem a little bit underpowered, which you wouldn't be wrong, but it's not actually that bad. We have the Energy Burst for Psychic and 2 colorless, dealing 30 damage times the amount of energy attached to both out of Pokemon. Now, if you are having, like, say, 8 energies yourself, which, like I mentioned, is not unreasonable considering we have unlimited energy acceleration with our Gardevoir EX, you're dealing 240 damage, and that's considering your opponent has no energy on their active. Now, generally, they will have, like, 3 energy on their active. That's looking pretty fair for these new EXs, is having 3 energy attached. That's an additional 90, so you're hitting 330, which is 8 energy on your Mimikyu. Now, admittedly, you will be if you accelerate 8 energy onto your Mimikyu, you will take 160 damage, which makes this Mimikyu really, really easy to knock out. But it can be a really nice option just to go, boom, I just need to clear this off the board. You can just go Mimikyu. It will most likely just get knocked out, but it's a really, really nice option for just clearing something off the board. With the Energy Burst, pretty decent attack when we have infinite energy acceleration available to us. And if they don't deal with the Mimikyu, it's just going to run through the board just because it's not that bad of an attack. Energy Burst is not that bad of an attack when you have infinite energy acceleration. And we have one other attacker. We have one copy of Wobbuffet. This is going to be Single Strike Wobbuffet from Evolving Skies. It has a Mirror Pain attack that lets you put damage counters on your opponent's head-up Pokemon for each damage counter on one of your bench Pokemon. You can kind of see the synergy here. Say someone hits our Gardevoir for 240. What if we just accelerate 3 energies onto it? We're going to be taking 60 damage, and that brings us all the way to 300 HP, or sorry, 300 damage, and then 10 HP remaining. And we can just retreat into Wobbuffet. Use the Psychic Embrace onto it twice to power out the Mirror Pain, and then hit our opponent's item for 300. So since we had the option to modify the damage on our own Pokemon with the Psychic Embrace, that means Mirror Pain becomes a lot stronger because we have more control over it, which is super, super good. And then the last alternate attacker is going to be one copy of Galarian Articuno, which Cruel Charge is not as good or not as relevant in this deck because you have Infinite Energy Acceleration, but Psy Laser is still pretty good. That we can power up with the Psychic Embrace, discard our Psychic Energy from this Pokemon, 120 Snipe, which is just a good attack, especially when things are going to have to be evolving now. It looks like that Psy Laser is going to be a lot better. One copy of Radiant Greninja because Psychic Embrace does come from our discard pile, which means we are going to want to be getting Psychic Energy in the discard pile, and Radiant Greninja will do just that, as well as drawing us a couple of cards. Now going into our supporters, pretty standard for the post-rotation format so far for research for Judge. And I was playing a game of post-rotation, and it was just both players judge, just judging each other back and forth. And maybe that's what this format will come down to. But Judge, still a decent card. Each player shuffles their hand to the deck, draws 4. And we can judge almost at will because we have our Gallade to search it out. And speaking of playing supporters at will, Cheryl is where this Gardevoir X just gets kind of crazy. The fact that we can Cheryl our Gardevoir, remove all damage from it and all energy, and then just re-accelerate the energy, taking a minimum 40 damage, which is a little bit more annoying considering you do have a lower HP of 310, but just being able to take a hit, Cheryl, and then immediately re-accelerate the energies at will is insanely good, and it will definitely serve you well, especially considering that your Gardevoir, like I mentioned, is a clean 2-shot on almost everything in the format. Then we have one of supporters, one copy of Boss, and one copy of Roxanne. Like I mentioned, you can grab the Roxanne whenever you need it out from your deck with the Gallade, which makes that just so much better. 4 copies of Fog Cyrstal, which, considering almost all of our Pokemon, all of our Pokemon except for Radiant Greninja, our Psychic, is insanely good, but also allowing us to grab energies out of our deck, and basically a better energy search for our Mew means that we're going to have a really consistent flow of Psychic Energy, because we do play 10 basics, and then we also have the +4 Fog Cyrstal, which means we're essentially playing almost 14 Psychic Energies, which means it's going to be really easy to find them and get them in the discard pile for the Psychic Embrace. Then we have 4 copies of Battle VIP Pass, and that's just because it's the best turn 1 card in the game. And then the opposed to playing this something like Level Ball is that this confined to Radiant Greninja, which is basically the only reason to play this over Level Ball. If you want to try Level Balls, that would be fine too. Or sorry, Nest Balls, if you want to play Nest Balls instead. This is just a bit more aggressive. And because we have the new search amount, it's not uncommon to find a couple of VIP Pass on turn 1. We have 4 copies of Rare Candy. And I think I did mention this before, but this is because getting a Gallade out on turn 2 is really, really helpful for us. So we can get that. That would be nice. But also turn 2 Gardevoir, this aggressive turn 2 Gardevoir. Like I mentioned before, if we don't want to go for that aggressive turn 2 Gardevoir, or if we're not drawing hot, we can just go for the Mirage type Kirlia. Then we have 3 copies of Ultra Ball. And yeah, there's nothing really much to say here. We are playing a Level Ball and over 1 more Ultra Ball. If you want to cut the Level Ball for the 4th Ultra Ball, you also can do that. But Ultra Ball is pretty costly in this deck, especially once we get a decent amount of our energy in the discard pile. We don't really need any more there. Ultra Ball becomes a little bit more annoying to play. And then we have 2 copies of Switch. Now, like I mentioned, we can retreat almost at will because of our Psychic Embrace, but still being able to switch into another, like a second Mew if we really need it for something, can be nice. And our Gardevoir also does have a kind of chunky 2 retreat cost on the EX, which sometimes we don't want to pay for some reason. So Switch is just a good card in general, so we're going to be playing it. And like I mentioned, 1 copy of Level Ball, which you could cut for the 4th Ultra Ball if you'd like. And then our energies. We have 10 copies of Basic Psychic Energy, and that is going to do it for the Gardevoir deck. And yeah, this deck is looking to be super, super strong. Psychic Embrace is just such an insanely good and versatile ability. I would not be surprised if this deck is best deck in format status one day in the future. Yeah, that's going to do it for the video, guys. If you guys liked it, don't forget to like. We celebrate Christmas. It's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. I probably won't have a video tomorrow. But if I do, that would be nice if you want to watch that. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. If you guys liked it, don't forget to like. And I'll see you guys in the next one.